Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tip. My name is Julian, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about players that you can consider letting go of ahead of Week 8 of the fantasy hockey season. This will help you make room for other guys who are on your free agency on the waiver wire and help you make your team better overall. Before we get started, guys, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and follow me on Twitter at FantasyTip, constantly releasing updates to help you guys win your weeks every single week. Without further ado, guys, let's jump right into the content and let's start with some forward options that you can consider dropping. And first on the list, the very big one in this video is Taylor Hall of the Boston Bruins, 74% owned. And this is the second year straight that I've now listed Taylor Hall as a drop candidate. Now, I'm not suggesting to drop Taylor Hall in all leagues. That's not what I'm saying at all. But Taylor Hall just hasn't been producing, and it's in Boston. You don't really produce unless you're playing on that top line with Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, and Pastrnak. So when one of them gets injured and Taylor Hall gets bumped up to that top line, then absolutely he's going to have a lot of value. But as of right now, everybody is healthy, and he's not even playing on that top power play anymore, so his production is pretty limited because of that, and he's just not living up to his name. So unfortunately, Taylor Hall is going to be a drop in shallower leagues. If you're in deeper leagues like 14, 16, 18 plus players, obviously there's nobody better on the waiver wire than Taylor Hall. So yeah, I'm going to hold Taylor Hall. But in shallower leagues, like 12 people or less, I definitely consider dropping him because there probably are better players on the waiver wire than Taylor Hall, and that's just unfortunately the way it is right now with Taylor Hall. Next I have Brendan Gallagher, and he's a borderline rosterable player, so kind of like Taylor Hall, if you're in a deep league, you can hold on to Brendan Gallagher. He's doing just fine. He shoots a decent amount, which gives him a safe-ish floor, but if there are guys out there with more upside on the waiver wire on the free agency, I'm going to go and grab those guys over Brendan Gallagher because Brendan Gallagher's ceiling is just not that high this year. Especially right now, he's playing on the third line, so there's definitely better options out there, especially in shallower leagues. Next is Jean-Gabriel Pageau of the New York Islanders, having an abysmal season, only 4 points through 16 games, and he actually got promoted recently to the second line. That's because of Brock Nelson's injury, but even there, he's just not doing anything at all. So I get it if you have him in a categories league just for faceoffs and for hits, but there honestly probably are even better options for that kind of thing out there on the waiver wire. Pageau has just been absolutely terrible this year. He's not putting up points. I guess if you're not looking for him to put up points, that's fine, but really Pageau is not someone that I'm high on at all this year. And last but not least, for forwards, I have Rasmus Asplund of the Buffalo Sabres, and he was someone who I was a little bit higher on earlier in the season because he was getting top line time and top power play time in Buffalo. But since Victor Olofsson has returned, Asplund's not playing on that top line anymore. He's not playing on that top power play anymore, and therefore has very, very, very limited value. I drop him in just about every single league. Jumping into some defensemen now, and my MANSCAPED must-drop player of the video is Kevin Shattenkirk of the Anaheim Ducks. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code word FANTASYTIP. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIP at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence, guys, and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Guys, the holiday season is approaching really quickly. So guys, head over to manscaped.com, use my code word FANTASYTIP. You'll get 20% off. You'll get free shipping, and you're going to get your holiday, your Christmas shopping done early this year. So why is Kevin Shattenkirk my MANSCAPED must-drop player of the video? Well, I've been telling you guys to trade him for weeks. He's not someone that was going to be able to sustain the pace that he was on. He has 2 points in his last 9 games and none in his last 4, and his peripherals have fallen off a cliff as well. Shattenkirk is not someone that I was ever high on this season, and unfortunately, he's starting to show just how not that great of a defenseman he is. He's going to be dropped in the majority leagues. Obviously, in super deep leagues, you can hang on to him because there's not going to be anybody better than him available, but he's really not someone that I'm high on, and he's not someone who's going to be producing once again like he was at the start of the season. Next is Oliver Ekman-Larsson of the Vancouver Canucks, and he's just someone who I also was not high on at all to start the year. He has not been a good defenseman for the last few seasons, and he's just someone with a big name. People think he's a great defenseman still, but he's not. He's really hasn't been great the last few seasons. and he's only playing PP2 in Vancouver, and I understand that the PP2 is better now in Vancouver, but he doesn't have that much upside, and he's droppable in the majority of leagues. Then I have Mattias Ekholm, who's just had a ridiculously bad season this year, and it's unfortunate because I do like Mattias Ekholm as a player, but unfortunately Nashville just doesn't have the talent to have a really good PP2, and that's where Ekholm is playing, and he's just not putting up many regulation points either, so Ekholm is an easy drop in pretty much every league. Then I got Gustav Forsling, 29% owned, Florida Panthers, and he's someone who basically has no floor each and every night. He's someone who can definitely go out and put a point out every single night. But the thing is, if he doesn't put out a point, he's getting you pretty much nothing that night because his peripherals are pretty much non-existent. So he's someone who's a risky option each and every night. And he's someone that I'd prefer to avoid because he's not someone who really has the opportunity to necessarily put up a lot of points. And last but not least is Ty Smith. Dude only has 3 points in 13 games and has been a healthy scratch in New Jersey's last 2 games. I don't know why 22% of you are still hanging on to Ty Smith. I told you guys from the very start of the season that Dougie Hamilton being in New Jersey has completely ruined any chance of Ty Smith having a good season at all. I told you guys not to draft Ty Smith, and unfortunately, if you're still hanging on to him, you really do have to drop him. Next is Mikko Koskinen of the Edmonton Oilers, and I'm not dropping him just yet, okay? So if you have him, hold on for just a little bit longer because it does look like Stuart Skinner is taking over the crease in Edmonton. But I want to see Stuart Skinner have another couple of really good games before I say, okay, Mikko Koskinen is definitely a drop. Stuart Skinner has taken over the crease. Skinner has been good, but I need to see a few more good games out of him before I say, okay, we're for sure dropping Koskinen. Stuart Skinner has taken over this crease. Koskinen is only going to get the back-to-back games. That could definitely happen. I think it will happen. Just hold on to Koskinen just a couple more games just to make sure Stuart Skinner doesn't choke. Because if he chokes, Koskinen will still be the starter in Edmonton. Then I have Dan Vlader of the Calgary Flames, 18% owned. And at the very most, Dan Vlader is going to get 1 start per week. Okay, if that's good enough for you, that's fine. He plays for the best team in the league right now. Calgary has become an absolute juggernaut this season. So if 1 start per week is good enough for you and is enough to justify for yourself hanging on to this guy, fine. But in the majority of leagues, I don't think it's worth holding a backup who will only start maximum once a week. He usually only plays back-to-back games or the occasional game against a really bad team, which is why he has been playing really well. But to me, it's not justifiable to hold him in the majority of leagues. Next, I have Chris Driedger, and it looks like Grubauer has kind of found his groove a little bit, and Driedger has only been getting the back-to-back games, but he has not played well at all, so I don't know why he's owned in 13% of leagues. He's not going to be taking over the crease anytime soon. Next is Anton Khudobin, and with Ottinger playing as well as he has been, Holtby's been the backup, and Khudobin might just be the odd man out. He's currently being scratched in favor of Ottinger and Holtby, so I don't think Khudobin has that much value going forward. And what happens when Ben Bishop comes? I just don't love Khudobin's value. I think he might get traded. That would be the smartest thing for Dallas to do. So if you were really desperate and are hoping that he gets traded, I guess you can hold on to him. But there's not that many teams that are really in desperate need of a goaltender that are really great teams. So Khudobin, he's an easy drop for me. Then I have Matt Murray, Ottawa Senators, 8% owned. I don't usually include players who are below 10% owned, but I did include Matt Murray in my most recent ads video, which was a mistake. Right after I released that video, there was a report saying that Matt Murray was going to get waived by the Ottawa Senators on Saturday, which is the day I'm recording this. So yeah, that's kind of rough for Matt Murray. So he's no longer going to be the starter in Ottawa. If he gets claimed, I guess he has value elsewhere, but I don't think he's going to get claimed. So to me, Matt Murray is an easy drop because it seems like the team has lost confidence in him. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at FantasyTipped. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.